Namaste, YouTube family. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all doing well. Today, we are going to talk about me. I would like to share my story and journey of yoga and meditation because I realized I have not really done that yet. And honestly, you guys, yoga and meditation have played a massive role in helping me connect to my innate power, in helping me recognize my divine nature. And so they are such a big part of my life, and I would like to talk a bit more about them, and then hopefully you guys can implement those practices in whatever way you can in your life as well. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. Before I discovered yoga and meditation, gosh, seems like ages ago, like a different lifetime ago. But basically, I was somebody living in survival mode. I didn't think that I was enough at all. I didn't love myself. I looked for validation from other people. I just honestly, I was just living in my trauma, and I had no idea that I was traumatized. Like, I didn't even know anything about trauma. I was just living from that wounded place, and I guess I was in victim mentality because all these things would happen and it would be like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And I had so much anger within myself, which I didn't know how to express because I guess growing up, if you expressed yourself, I grew up in a really strict African household. So if you expressed yourself, how you were feeling about maybe what your parent did or what an older or elder did, then you would just be shunned. So I just was taught to not express how I'm feeling, to not express it when I'm upset. And I was holding all these feelings of resentment and anger within myself. It was just not good, y'all. There was a lot of myself that I was suppressing. I was not living for myself. I was not living in my purpose. I was living for society, basically. We're raised to be a product of society and do what society says and neglect who we truly are. And that was me. And I had no idea of it. I also grew up in a very religious household. And I'm not going to go into religion in this video because that's a whole other different big topic. But basically, it instilled so much fear, and it really didn't allow me to create a personal relationship with God. Like, I literally believed in God because I was so scared to go to hell, because what was being preached was like, if you make a mistake, if you sin, then you are gonna be punished forever. And that is just what would be on my mind the whole time. And I would basically, I guess, go to church and pray and do all of these things, not because I had a personal relationship with God, not because I knew God, but because I was just scared of God. And I mean, that religion in itself, guys, it just caused so much more trauma. And I am somebody who, I know God, I've experienced God, and I have a big belief in God, but I do not follow any particular religion at all. I think I was going off track a little bit. Anyway, so that was in South Africa, and then I moved to Melbourne, Australia, and then I was living in a toxic environment with a dad that hadn't really healed his traumas, and he was just bleeding all over me. And as somebody who already didn't think that they were enough and didn't love themselves, like that really didn't help at all. That made things quite worse, actually. At this point, I really lost all sense of myself, and I was just in like autopilot. I was not present at all. Like I was very much dissociated and detached from reality, and that was normal for me. Like it didn't seem like there was a problem with that until I found meditation. So a friend of mine, well, not friends anymore, it's actually an ex, but okay, anyway, introduced me to meditation. Like he was like a hippie, and we went to school together. We became friends, we started dating, and he introduced me to meditation, and he introduced me to this whole world of spirituality and all these concepts. And I remember after we had talked about meditation that night, I went back home and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this meditation thing because it resonated with my soul. And the first meditation I remember I did was a throat chakra meditation. If you're not familiar with chakras, they are energy centers in the body, and they're responsible for a specific thing. Your throat chakra is your energy located at the throat, and it is your energy center that is responsible for things like communication and expressing your truth, right? And so that was the first meditation I did. It was like just a 10-minute meditation, and I remember I sat in my little bed. Well, I laid down on the bed and closed my eyes, and I put the meditation on. It was a guided meditation. And then after the 10 minutes, I opened my eyes and something had shifted. And I had never felt that way before, but something has shifted, and in a good way. Like I felt lighter within myself. And then literally 5 minutes after that happened, my boyfriend at the time calls, and we were just talking. I hadn't mentioned to him that I just did the meditation, right? We were just talking, and then he literally says, like, right now I can feel that your throat chakra is activated. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. How do you know? Like, I hadn't mentioned anything about the meditation until that point. And the fact that he said that, it was like, what is happening? And that was when it just hit me, like there is something about this. Like I didn't understand what just happened, but I definitely knew that it wasn't coincidence. Like I don't even believe in coincidences at this point in my life, but at that time I did believe in coincidences, but I knew that there was something about that. There was just something about it. And so that literally marked the start of meditation for me. Like every single day I would meditate. It was like just a 10-minute meditation, because it would really shift my energy into a much more positive energy. And I guess it also really allowed me to tune into myself and to connect. And it was a beautiful thing. And in the environment that I was living in, I was still living at home with my dad, it really was a sacred practice for me, because it allowed me to step out of that, I guess, toxic energy and step more into myself, you know. And within myself, I found the energy that I needed to carry me through those, I guess, tough moments. And yes, so this made me so curious. I was really curious about what I was experiencing. I was curious about like what really meditation is and why it has the effects that it does. I was curious about spirituality And, you know, I guess he also, my ex, introduced me to psychedelics. Like, I did my first LSD trip with him. I think I have talked about this a little bit in one of my previous videos, but that also opened up a whole new world. Like, that first psychedelic trip I had, it really connected me to the world around me. It connected me to nature. It connected me to this idea of interconnectedness. I realized through that trip that we are all one. Like, we are all from the same source. It was so magical, and my curiosity grew even more. Honestly, it had such a profound impact on me in helping me gain clarity and release stress. Fast forward 2 years later, my journey is a long one, guys. There is no way I can fit it into my videos. So I'm going to just be summing up everything. Fast forward a couple years later, yoga found me. And I like to say yoga found me because that's actually what happened. And it's crazy because everybody that has gotten into yoga has that same story about how they feel as though yoga found them. And I think maybe it's because the practice really resonate with you when you're at the most critical point of your life, when you're going through some sort of transformation or emergency. I think that's why. But the reason I say that yoga found me, I was obviously still living in survival mode. Meditation was helping me navigate through that. But at this point, I still had no idea about my traumas. Like, I had no idea about any of those things. I was still pretty much just like trying to get by. I wasn't aware of like my innate power. I wasn't aware of my divine nature. And so yoga found me, and it found me through a friend. She was a yoga teacher, and she offered me a free class. And I was like, hell yeah, it's free. Like, that was even what I resonated more with. I resonated more with the fact that it was free rather than the yoga. Little did I know that I was aligning more with myself. And so I went to the yoga class, and I struggled the whole way through. Like, I just, it was rough, yo. It was so rough. But we got to the end, and after our Shavasana is when you get to the end of an asana practice and you're laying there, like you're doing nothing, you're just laying there and you're dropping into yourself. After that, I opened my eyes, and there it was again. Like, something shifted. My soul felt good. It felt like, I don't even know. Like, it honestly just felt like I found home, like within myself. It just kind of felt like that. And of course, that was like, I need to research this. I got more curious. It only really just increased my curiosity about the self. And so I started watching all these documentaries on yoga, the history of yoga, what it is, and my mind was blown. Like, it was more than just a physical practice. Because I think the question that I had in my mind was, because at the time I was also like a gym junkie. I went to the gym quite a lot, and the gym did not have that much of a profound effect on me. You know, of course, after a workout, you feel much more like, you feel good because of all that dopamine, but you don't feel like you've shifted on a soul level, you know. The most you feel is like you've shifted and you have a pump. Anyway, so it was more than just a physical practice in that sense of like you're moving your body and you're moving with your breath. And I guess I got introduced to like the power of breath and what breath is. And it was profound because by doing that, by moving your body and connecting with your breath and connecting with yourself, it just had this magical effect on you. Like you connected more to yourself, and not just more to your physical self, but more to your soul. And just learning about it, I was like, I want this. I really, really want this. And so I started implementing yoga into my routine. I wasn't practicing consistently at that time, but I was practicing like once or twice a week, and it was having profound effects on me. I was gaining so much clarity. I was knowing myself more. I was tapping into my power. I was tapping into something. I didn't know what it was at that point, but I was tapping into something. And it wasn't until 2020 COVID lockdown, I think this marked such a significant period in like just the world, in the energetics of the world, because a lot of people were forced to look within. And so when lockdown happened, I started practicing yoga a lot more because the gyms were closed and I was like, I need to move my body. And so I had yoga. And because I started practicing yoga a lot more, I was connecting to myself a lot more. And I really was starting to fall out of that survival mode. And I was starting to realize all these things about myself. Because yoga helps you to become aware of yourself and what goes on within yourself, and to connect with you come like face to face with your soul. And I was realizing all these things, and all these things were starting to come up, all these traumas. And that's when I started learning about trauma and what it is. And I was being exposed to myself, and it got me through that lockdown period and past that. And it had such a profound effect on me, to the point where I was like, I would like to share this with the rest of the world. Like, it really saved me. It saved me. I say this about yoga, like it saved me, because all of a sudden, like, I was enough. I wasn't just like a nobody. I was more than my name. It's so crazy. Like, it makes me emotional thinking about it, because it was such a catalyst in my evolution and in me stepping into myself. And the more I practiced, the more I got to connect with myself. Yoga is an opportunity for you to connect to all the parts of yourself that you have suppressed or that you have neglected. The thing with trauma, it's not something that is just stuck in your mind. Trauma is stuck energy in your body, in your bones. So when you explore certain postures in yogas, they might literally trigger a traumatic memory that you had no idea that you were even holding onto. And so this is how I started to learn about my traumas. Like, oh my gosh, this explains a lot of things. You know, like when you start to learn about your traumas, then you realize how, like, why you are the way that you are, why you have reacted the way you have reacted to certain things. And I started having all these aha moments on my mat. And I can share an example of an aha moment. There was one time that I was on my mat and I was practicing yoga, and I was experiencing a lot of resistance. And then I realized that the reason that I was experiencing so much resistance was because There was so much going on in my mind. There was so much going on in my mind. And so the practice of yoga and meditation is to practice stepping out of the mind and into the body. And note that I said stepping out of the mind rather than stealing the mind. Did I say that right? What I mean is rather than quietening the mind, because misconception is that with meditation and yoga, you're not supposed to think. And this is why a lot of people, I guess, give up on meditation, because they just think like, oh my gosh, I'm always thinking, what's the point? Yes, that's what the mind does. You're going to think. It's all about not focusing on those thoughts and separating yourself from those thoughts, because your thoughts, your emotions are not you. They are merely what you're experiencing, but they're not you. You are just the witness of those. Anyway, I can go into that in another video, but you start to recognize these kind of things when you're meditating and practicing yoga, and you start to tap into your bigness, how big you are. And the more I started peeling off all these layers through yoga and meditation and connecting to myself, the more I was stepping into myself. And I realized that this process of healing wasn't about becoming someone that you are not. It's about becoming who you already are. So in order to become who you already are, that powerful self, you have to unbecome who you were taught to be, right? You have to let go of the past that we so hold on to, because we believe that my past defines me. And it's like, no, it doesn't have to. You can literally let go of your past and you define yourself. You define yourself. Your past doesn't have to define you. Someone else doesn't have to define you. You define yourself. And so I stepped into this power through practicing connecting with myself every single day. Even 5 minutes of connecting to yourself is better than not doing that at all. This is the gem. What I realized through practicing yoga and meditation is that I hold the answers. I hold the answers. The more you tap into yourself, guys, the more you really, really connect to yourself, everything that you need comes to light. Everything that you need is within yourself. So pursue yourself first. Understand yourself. Get to know yourself. Because how can you realize or recognize your innate power if you don't connect to yourself? It's quite impossible to do that. And so, once I found my power, it influenced other areas of my life. My personal life, like I was more confident. I wasn't afraid to be seen or heard anymore. It influenced my professional life. Like I started attracting better opportunities, better jobs, and it influenced my spiritual life as well. Like I have a much better and sacred relationship with God. Like I have a relationship with God, with myself, with my higher self. And that's opened up just so much more magical experiences. And it's allowed me to raise my vibration and align with the life that is truly meant for me and align with my purpose. And it all happens so effortlessly. So if you are someone that is on a similar journey of growth, of healing, of evolving and becoming more in tune with yourself, I highly recommend these practices. They will change your life. They will change the relationship you have with yourself and with the world in the most positive, most profound way. And that is it for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions or any comments, please pop them in the comment section below. If you are new here and you resonate with my channel and my energy, please subscribe. And you guys, let me know. Let me know if you would like me to post some short yoga videos or some breathwork videos or some meditation videos, because I'd be keen to do that if you guys are keen. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah.